Morning guys, Rob Lester here from Lester Bathrooms, and in today's video I'm going to show you at home how to do all of this. This could possibly be the most comprehensive and longest video on YouTube about how to cut holes in tiles. So if you're starting your own project, have a look at this video. It'll show you how to navigate all the tricky cuts, all the little pipes that we see in a bathroom. Let's get into it. Okay guys, we're here in the new Lester Bathrooms headquarters. This is something I've built and put together so I can bring you how-to content like this and other stuff. If you want to see how I built it, there's a link here, bing bong. And sorry about the t-shirt tucked into the shorts. I had to wear shorts. It's a really hot day and I didn't know which way to play it, but this way I'm worried it's a bit sort of local, sort of petting zoo employee. I'm about to feed the meerkats or something like that. We'll see how that progresses. Let's have a little look about what we're going to do today and all the things we're going to cut round. So quite handily, I've laid out a few of the items, your most common offenders that you'll find in a bathroom. So we've got electrical socket. This will tend to be up on the wall somewhere for a shaver point. The old 15mm copper, 22mm copper, 32mm waste, and the 4-inch soil. I haven't bothered bringing out an inch and a half waste out of the wall because that tends to be coming up underneath a bath, or it doesn't tend to come out of a wall really. So these are sort of rose gallery, and we're going to take these one by one and show you how to cut through all of these with different methods. So let's get over and show you what tools we're going to use today. Okay guys, this is our tool set, what we're going to be using today. Now, there are some here that are essential, can't live without. I use all of this at work on a day-to-day basis. There's a few little exotic pieces that I'll show you in a minute. And there's some other fundamentals, but we'll start with this. That is your must-have, can't do without, your grinder. And that's got a 115mm mixed blade in there, which is this one. And that is ceramic, porcelain, stone, granite. That'll do just about everything. So I've got one in there at the moment. That's your can't do without. Then you've got a 18-volt cordless drill, and that would be to use your little diamond tip drill bits for cutting into the tiles. I'll show you how to use those later. I'll put those to one side. Your tile nippers, I call them nibblers, always have. I've had these for about 1,000 years, as you can see. They're a little bit worn, but you can get some with a spring in between there, and that doesn't help me. I take that out and I'll show you how to use those later, but they are must-haves. Ear defenders, tape measure and pencil, set square. This is the box that the diamond drill bit came in. These are for porcelain and ceramic, and they go from 38mm all the way down to 6mm, and this is the smallest one here, little diamond tip drill bit. They're cool, but today these three will be the main ones we'll be using. Little bucket of water for cooling your drill bits down. This is a really important bit of kit for me for cutting the saw pipe, and I'll show you what that does later, but that's just come off a fitting, and I use that as a template to mark out all my 4-inch cutting. And then that takes us to the little exotic gizmos. Now, these are new purchases for me, and I haven't used them very much, but they're diamond cones, and I'll get them out. They are very, very stunning and gorgeous. Wait till you see this one. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? So basically you attach that to your grinder and you shape and finish holes with that. So that's called the Beast, and that's just a smaller cone, and I'll talk you through how to use those later. Now, that's quite overwhelming. There's a lot to take in there and a lot of tools. If you were doing your own bathroom, a bit of a DIY home improvement, you could narrow all of this down to 2. And if it was me and you're on a budget and you didn't want to spend £40 out for that, $60, and probably about, $50 for that, I would just take the grinder and the blade and the tile nibblers and I'll show you later how you can do all of this cutting with just these two items. Okay, let's do it. Right, I think we'll start with the dreaded 4-inch first. This pipe can be exposed in the bathroom a lot. If you've got a back to wall toilet, so you imagine this is down on the floor and your toilet comes back and it's shielded, it will hide all of this and you could probably just cut a square out of it. But a lot of the times in bathrooms this can be exposed, whether it's coming out the floor or coming out the wall, and you want to keep this as neat as possible because it will be seen. It's not worth making a bit of a bodge job. So we'll get rid of these ones and we'll start marking this one out. Okay, you started your tiling. You've got some tiles up already and you want to cut this out of the centre of a tile, a bit tricky. So first of all, I want this measurement here and this measurement here off this course. So I'll measure to here, allow our spacer, and then measure to here and do the same thing. And then we'll get our tile and transfer that onto there. So if we imagine this is the way up, like that, we want to measure off this corner. So just get in there and mark it to the bottom and the top, and then turn that tile around and do the same thing there and there. Okay, that's step one. So step two, we're going to take our tile, we're going to take our set square, and those two marks we're going to draw a square like this. Then we're going to take our template. So this is the inside of the ring that we want because that fits over there like that. Also, you can use the outside as well if you've got a knuckle exposed like that coming out the wall. So then we'll line these two up. So the corner of this one, the line here will meet the edge of there, and the line there will meet the edge of there, and that's your 2 points. So once you've got that lined up, you can then mark out the inside of there. And that's where your saw pipe is. Now, I also want you to transfer that mark onto the back of the tile, and I'll show you why next when we start to cut. Right, we're over here at the workbench. We've got our template here, front, and we've got the same on the back. I'm going to start on the back, and basically I'm going to cut a hole out of here, as wide as I can get it, like that. So the reason I've got the front mark is that I can see that I'm not going outside the lines. Now this is a tight marking that's pretty exact to that. We'll probably want to come outside the line by 1 millimetre or so because we'll want a nice joint outside the saw pipe by about 1 or 2 millimetres. So let's start with our grinder. Normally this will have a guard on that I normally keep on, but for the purposes of this video I've taken it off, so make sure you follow all the PPE safety instructions, and always goggles. I haven't got one on this occasion because I'm fairly safe, but I always wear ear defenders. Let's start doing it. Right, so I've got my hole cut out of the back of the tile. The reason I start at the back of the tile first is that you can overlap a little bit from the back, and I'll show this more in more detail later. And then from the front of the tile you can see where you've got your hole. So I think that's, you can go a little bit closer and join up the edges if you want to, but for me that's probably close enough. So I'll get I mentioned these earlier about that exposed edge. I'm just going to pop that out from a weak corner like that. Okay. For me now, the next step with the grinder is to take little slots out of here, and then I can start working the shape in. So we're going to take those little slots out now, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we've got our hole cut out and we've got these all scribed in up to or just past the line, because as I mentioned before, we're going to just work outside the line slightly, probably to about here, something like that, a few mil past. So I'm going to do one half of the tile with the trusty nippers, and then I'm going to do another half of the tile with the beast cone, and let's see what the difference is like using the two methods. So just bring that up to your knee, this is what I always do, and we can start with these. You're not really squeezing, you're sort of breaking down and pushing down like that. So you can start very easily taking out the stock out of the tile like this. And then once you get a little bit closer to that line, you can really start to finesse it. So if I get most of that stock out now, I can really start to just gently get onto the line and just really gently pull that down, like so. And I tend to use this corner. I think it gives you a nice straight edge on this corner of the nippers. So if I get that in there, it just gives you a really nice edge to work to. So before these things came onto the market, the grinder and the nippers are the only thing I ever really used. You start working back the other way, slowly taking the stock out. Okay, so as you can see, this is the section here that we've used with the tile nippers. Now, that's a pretty clean edge as that goes. That's a much better edge. I've seen some videos on YouTube where people just sort of go around it and keep hammering at the line, keep hammering it comes out. But you will not get this neatness that you get with the tile nippers. You end up getting lots of score marks. So I'm pretty pleased with that. That's not too bad. Let's see how we get on with the other side with the new beast cone. Should be good. Okay, to get our beast tool on, we take our grinder and we just simply take the blade off. Put that to one side, and then we just attach that straight to there. Just screw straight in. Now these are a tool that I bought from hhtiling.co.uk. I'm not sponsored by them, but I'll put a link in the description to their website. They just sell really cool little cutting tools like this and blades. So give that a little pull, and then let's give it a go. Right, so let's look at this in more detail now with the two methods. So from here to here was the tile nippers. And, you know, you might need to practice with this. I've been using these a long time and I know my way around a pair of tile nippers. So still a very good clean edge. From here to here was the beast comb. Where's the beast comb? Which is a bit of a beast. You can see. The good thing about it, it's very easy to get a circular shape because of the cone aspect. I would say the one downside is, compared to the nippers, it doesn't quite undercut the tile. I don't know if you can see that. It leaves a slight flared edge there, which is fine. You know, it's not too bad. But what I like about the nippers, if you turn it round, is it undercuts this sort of edge here. I think both ways work really well. I think this is a little bit smoother as it goes. You could have a combination of the two if you felt comfortable with that. But yeah, not used this a lot, and I'm really impressed with that. So let's go and see if it fits. Let's offer this up. There we go. Nice and neat. Let's pull you in a little bit so you can see around that. So that leaves you a really nice, neat margin all the way around there. And then personally, if that was me, once the toilet's installed, I would just run a nice bead of colour match sealant around there, or white sealant, whatever you want to do, or even a clear, because it would just look like a shadow gap. Okay, saw pipe done. Well, let's have a look if you want to cut it out of the joint, out of the middle of the tile. Let's see what we would do there. Let's do that while we're at it, might as well. Let's go. Okay, let's imagine that our tile starts here. We've got another course here, and that's where our tile ends up here and here. So in this one, I'll just get a little 2 foot level, bring that line through there. Same thing there. And I bring that one down there. Now we can get our tile, put that on the course or a batten, or if you've got a course of tiles here, and we can mark that line here, that line there. And if we know we're starting in the middle of the saw pipe, we can also mark that line there. Very quickly, we get our set square and we bring that, transfer that mark through there. Also there, and also there. Then we get our template, as before, and we line all those marks up. And we just mark that out. Like that. As you can see, we're a little bit outside that because this is a tight scribe to the saw pipe with the template that we've got here, but we actually want to work just slightly outside as we did before, so we've got a little grout joint. So, okay, let me show you how to cut that one out. Okay, we've got our tile marked out, we've got our grinder with a blade back in it. Incidentally, these blades will have a little arrow on, which is the way it should roll, and normally you have the sort of info printed on the front, just a little hint. And ear protection, and we're doing exactly the same as we did before. We're just going to cut some scribes out of this, and then we're going to pop those out, and I'll show you exactly how we're going to do that. So we've got our scribe tile again and our nippers, and we're just going to pop those out. And you've got the exact same process again, whether you want to use the Beast tool, the diamond cone bit, or you want to go around it again. If you feel comfortable with the nippers, you can just shape that all the way around, get roughly like before, get all of the stock out. It's actually quite quick with the nippers. I would say it's probably a little bit quicker with the nippers than with the cone, dare I say it. See what you think, let me know in the comments which method you think is the quickest, but actually if you see, it's actually a lot quicker to take the stock out with the nippers But maybe I'm just a bit old-fashioned. I mean, I have been tiling now for 25 years, so I don't look it, do I? More like 35. So, roughly taken all the stock out, we work back along it really finely to just shape those edges up, just almost brushing it down. You're not snapping, you're not squeezing, you're just sort of brushing it. Making sure, using your eye, that you can see a nice shape. I mean, maybe you want to use a mixture of the two. Maybe if you think it's quicker to take the stock out with the nippers, and then if you feel it needs tidying up a bit, you can get a diamond cone in there and just, you know, rub that up with that, or you can use a file. Okay, let's see if it fits. All right, let's check it out. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So we've got let's bring you a little bit closer. We've got a nice 1mm gap all the way around that. That's really, really smart. And that wasn't using the cone, the beast cone. That was just using the nippers. So you can keep it really neat just by hand. If you had those two tools, you've got the grinder and you've got the nippers. So you can keep things quite cost effective if you don't want to splash out on loads of gadgets and gizmos. But saw pipe completed. Let's get on to the next one. So next on the agenda is the waste pipe. And let's imagine that our edge of the tile is here. And then we'd be working this way back. So you can go and measure that out. I mean, if you do, you could measure it with a tape measure up and down again, which I showed you on the saw pipe, or you can turn the tile around, hold it on the center of the tile, and then mark, not against the tile, but whatever size tile space you're using, 2mm, mark that away from there. So that's the center of that way. And then fairly simply, we're putting it on the courser tiles there, and we've got a center there. So what we want to do now is drag those 2 points and mark the face of the tile, because for this one, we're going to be using our cutting bit like this. Okay, so let's get our set square. What we want to do with a set square, if we're using the diamond tip bit, is a nice square line through the tile where the center of the pipe is. Okay, so that's the center of our pipe. Let's go over to the cutting table. Okay, for this one, we've got our marked tile, we've got our cutting bit for the right size for this hole, and we've got a little, down here, a little bucket of water. So basically, I'm going to start the drill off, I'm going to get a couple of millimeters into the tile. Don't stop, because there's a chance you can slip. So I'm going to keep heavy pressure on. A lot of people like to start this on its edge and then work into it. I prefer to keep hard pressure down, almost like a tower drill, until I get a couple of mil into the tile, so I know it won't slip. And I take it out, I run the drill bit in the water to collect some water into the diamond bits, then I go again. I'll take you through that process. I'll put this down here. So this is how I start. Nice and centralized with our cross points, centralized with that. And I'm going to put heavy pressure on here. I'm going to just support the chuck slightly as I do it, and let's go. Okay, we're down quite into the stock of the tile now, so I'll just cool that down. Stopping and bringing out a bit of water with it. And then we go again. I take another load of stock out, and then I cool the bit down again. You can keep a sponge next to you and squeeze that in, but I prefer this method. and we're through, and that's out. Pull the drill bit down, clean your tile off, and we've got a nice hole in the tile ready to offer up to the wall. So really, really simple. If you find that you're a little bit tight, you can wiggle the drill bit round to elongate it. Why don't I show you that now? So if you find that you offer this up and you want it a little bit more room, just put the drill bit in, support it, and that will just slightly widen it out. Let's see if it fits. Okay, let's offer it in there. That's a nice, really nice fit, that is. Lovely, and that just gives you a nice little margin all the way around that to be able to, you know, give you a bit of comfort, work the tile around it and seal it in whatever you want to do. But that's, yeah, that's gone in there nicely. Okay, and then we want to repeat that same process if you've got a 40mm 1.5" size waste pipe, and with the two pipes as well, the different sizes, the 22mm pipe and the 15mm pipe. So I might just quickly cut those pre-done out of these tiles and then just then put them up on the wall, and you get the idea. Just a little break in this video. You notice that to start with, I'm applying pressure, and as I said, just quite square, but just a little bit further back, just tilted a little bit. I'm actually using my chest to support the drill and apply a bit more pressure. I think that works really well, rather than just being quite high on it, and it can easily slip. So you might notice that with these, I'm just sort of resting my chest on it a little bit. Might be unconventional, let me know what you think, but works for me. Okay, that's all of our pipes cut out in there. So you wouldn't really have exposed pipes coming out of this without trying to tidy up. So you would probably have some cover collars like this going over each of your items. Always makes it look a lot neater. So I'd recommend that when you're offering everything up, you know, and you come to doing your final fit. It really looks nice if you can offer up some pipe collars. It just really neatens the whole thing up, so I'd really recommend them. You can get them with all your waste pipes as well, waste pipe sizes, and in particular if you've got a waste pipe coming out the wall like this, it will tend to be a chrome pipe, because if you can see it, it will really want to go into a chrome 1.25" waste bottle as well, so you know, you get the best look out of your bathroom like that. So this in particular would normally wouldn't be a plastic pipe, it would be a chrome pipe. Right, shaver socket next. So with the shaver socket, exactly the same as the first time I did the centre of the soil pipe. I'm going to mark it from the front. Let's just say roughly it's here. And we want to mark, we don't want to go past, if you've got a plasterboard back box like this, you don't want to go past it. You want to sort of go to the edge or just in the middle, because shaver sockets can be quite deep and complicated, so they need this whole bit of space. So we'll mark that out on the top here, there and there, and then we'll mark that out onto the side, there and there, and we transfer that to the back and the front, and let's show you how to do that in more detail now. Right then, we've got our tile marked out on the front and on the back, and we're going to start with, because it's porcelain, a bit chippy, we're going to start on the front, but at least we have marks on the back to be able to finish that off. Let's do that. our tile marked out from the front. You can feel when it breaks through the back of the tile, and you can see it there. But obviously, from the front, because you've got a curved blade, you won't be able to get it square into the corners. That's why we turn it over and finish it over from the back, and then the centre bit will just drop out. Perfect. There we go, that's our shaver socket plasterboard drywall back box cut out. Just a couple of mil margin all the way around, that will fit perfectly. So that was that one done. Okay, so we've covered pretty much everything through here. There's just a couple of techniques that I want to show you if you haven't got hole cutting bits. Like the diamond tip ones I haven't showed you before. You're thinking, well, we're on a budget, I've spent a fortune on tiles and I don't want to spend another 50, 60 quid on a diamond hole cutting bit. So I'll show you how to cut a small little hole out with a grinder that, as long as you're using a cover plate, will be perfectly fine for these sorts of holes. So let's mark out one of these and let's show you how to cut it out with the grinder. So I'll start with the 15mm pipe because it's the smallest of the pipes, and then you can just extrapolate that forward with all the other ones, but the process is always the same. So let's just pretend we're starting this tile sort of here. We'll mark the centre like that, and then we'll come up and mark the centre of the tile here. Right, we're going to take these 2 points and transfer them onto the back of the tile with our set square. Now then, we've got our 2 marks from the 15mm pipe and we've got them transferred into a cross on the back of the tile. So what we're going to do here is mark a little square out of the back of the tile. So we've got a 15mm pipe. Let's make it 10mm either side of this line, so 20mm in total, there and there. Okay? Let's do the same the other side. So 10mm there, 10mm there. So we've got a 20mm hole. We get our set square, just square that up like that and like that. Now then, we're going to cut that hole out with the grinder. Now you can do smaller holes in this, and I'll show you the technique how to do it. But what we want to do is cut this from the back of the tile. There's no point doing this from the front of the tile. You just literally wouldn't have, it's so small a hole, there would just not be enough space. You'd end up making a section sort of a couple of inches big to go down the depth of the tile to break the hole. That's why we do this from the back. So, let me just say quickly what we're going to do first. We're going to grind into the hole, making sure that the centre of the blade is the centre of the hole. And we can measure that by seeing how far the blade goes outside this parameter. You'll see that in a minute when I start to cut the tile. So we're going to give it a blast, take it out, check, give it another blast, take it out and check. So you're just sort of flaring the grinder through and then checking to see if it's broken through the tile. So once it's broken through the tile by a tiny amount, then you can judge how much further you go through and work our way all the way around doing that, creating a little hole, and then we'll punch it through from the front. So just keep your eyes peeled. See, I'm just sort of stopping there and checking to see that it's nice and equal here and here and here and here, and you can see that you'll come through in the middle of that hole then. Okay, we have daylight. So that's just gone through there, as you can see. So we know the sort of mark that we want to create all the way around is about this measurement. So we'll repeat the process, just checking as we go till we get that sort of hole all the way around. Right, we have our little square. There you go. So if you do that very carefully and make sure you're always getting the same offcut throughout the edges of the square, either side, you know you'll always be center, and just cut and check and cut and check. And when you can see daylight through there, you know that you've come through. So that's our square. Grab a little blunt tool, you know, this is my little thing that I use, and we're just going to go on a corner and pop that out. Just clean that up. And that's our hole in our little tile there. So we'll offer that up to the pipework. And there's our little square cut out of the tile. Now, if you get really good at this, you can cut holes that are sort of 5 millimeters square. You can cut really small holes if you practice this technique. And that, if you're using cover plates in a bathroom such as this, that's perfectly acceptable. Let me cover that over just to make sure you see exactly what it looks like. There's nothing wrong with cutting holes in tiles like that. Yeah, when you're first fixing, it doesn't look sexy, it doesn't look neat as if you're using these bits. But if everything's going to be cover capped anyway, that is perfectly fine. And if you're on a budget and all you have is a grinder with a decent blade and a pair of nippers, there's nothing wrong with doing it this way, and you can repeat the process all the way up, not with the saw pipe. But as long as you're using cover caps, you can do this for all of these holes that I've laid out here for pipe work, and that is just as good if you're on a budget. Okay, the only thing we haven't had a play around with is this little thing, which looks quite cool. I haven't used it yet, I only got it the other day. So I might just see, using this square here, what that's like if I got that in there and just played around with it. We don't really need to do it, but we will because it's a bit of fun, isn't it? I like to play with tools. Let's do that. We've got our grinder here and we've swapped the blade out for our new little diamond cutting cone here. And just have a little play around with this for a bit of fun. We'll just see what happens when we offer that in there and see if you can make a nice smooth hole. Let's have a play. Wow, that is incredible. Look at that. Love that. But that would be a really, really, really good technique to use. You can actually get a larger version than this, one up from that and one in between this size and this size. So you can imagine if you just cut a small hole in the tile and blasted that through, it'd probably be more than adequate to go over your waste pipe, and that would probably, bear with me, quite a good hole for the 22mm pipe with a cover plate over it. Look at that. Yeah, I like that. Very impressed with that. Very sharp. I mean, what I would say about all of the cutting I've done here today is these are porcelain tiles. They're very hard, and I'm going to put up a video, the link here, the difference between porcelain and ceramic tiles. So if you know that you can use these drill bits and these techniques on these tiles, you can do it 10 times easier with ceramic because they're a lot more lightweight and a lot more sort of brittle, as it were. So yeah, that worked well. Love that. Okay guys, there we go. And I hope this video, I told you it was going to be long. I hope this video has covered everything. I really wanted to make this video for a long time, and it was just having the opportunity here in the studio to be able to do it, to show you everything, every method that's involved in cutting tiles, just options, just keeping your options open, because it can be quite overwhelming when you're tiling. There's so many gadgets and gizmos on the market. Am I using the right tools? What do I need? So I hope I've covered everything in this video, in this tutorial, to help you get around all these obstacles that we have and we encounter in bathrooms. I hope I haven't missed anything. I'm going to do other videos about I've got videos about how to cut into windows and stuff like that. I'm going to do a video about how to cut into sloping ceilings. I can't cover it all in today's video, but I hope this video has been helpful. Do drop a comment in the comment section if I have missed anything, if something in particular that you'd like to see. Give us a like and subscribe, it helps us keep creating content like this. And we'll see you on the next one. I told you it was going to be a bit of a marathon today. I'm a bit dusty, I might have a sandwich. See you on the next one, cheers, bye.